even to interpret my own experiences, even to interpret all the words, I use Tarka. Tarka guides in the sense that it ensures that my interpretation is not wrong, and it ensures the uncontradicted way of understanding. Without Tarka, without logic, without inference, our Pramana Shastra will not move. Anvikshiki and Trayi Varta Dandaniti is the way to understand the Indian Vidyas, Bharatiya Vidyas. Today's fragmented approach of the science and technology and philosophy and spirituality is really a weakness. Don't focus on the tools, focus on yourself. Even the tools are wrong, even the tools are inadequate, you will be perfect, you will reach your goal. So clean your vessel. Antahkarana Shuddhi is very important to draw the valid conclusions. व्याप्तिर्यस्य निजे निजेन महसा पक्षे सपक्षे स्थितिः व्यावृत्तिश्च विपक्षतोऽथ विषये सक्तिर्न वै बाधिते नैवास्ति प्रतिपक्षयुक्तिरुदुलं शुद्धं प्रमाणं समे भूयात् तत्त्वविनिर्णयाय भगवान् आनन्दतीर्थो मुनिः. This is very beautiful shloka, Mangalacharana, by one of the prominent Dvaita scholars, Sri Jayatirtha Muni, praising his Guru as in the form of Anumana, yeah. We are living in an age where we started thinking about the human and machine intelligence. We did not know what is human intelligence. Partly we knew what is we did not know what is machine intelligence, but we knew what is human intelligence. Suddenly this machine intelligence taking over the life, and we are confused. Whether machines are confused or not, we are confused. So we need to work on ourselves. We are working on machines, but we need to work on ourselves. We need to understand ourselves. We need to understand our strengths. Then we will build the powerful machines. The title is given by my friend, I think Srinivasa, The Living Breath of Pramana, and why inference is not just logic but life. We need to understand what is Pramana. So as we all human beings, we are living in our cognitive processes. We are not living in the large language models, right? And today's large language models have taken over the entire thinking process. And people tend to think that maybe human beings are also large language models. So because we know something outside, and we tend to understand the human beings in the similar models, right? Outside world shapes inside. That's what's happening now. Instead, we should start with the inside, the nature, and then we should create the outside world. Because we are the creators. Therefore, what Indian epistemological systems think about the intelligence, and particularly today we are talking about the reasoning, inference, reasoning. Today, as we understand the formal structures of reasoning, they are part of mathematics. They are part of, basically it is a manipulation of symbols. Relation between the two or multiple nodes and multiple symbols. Basically, it starts with the number and then ends with the relation and functions. So ultimately, it is a whole game of inference falls into the category of mathematics. Whether human intelligence is restricted with the mathematics or it is beyond that, that is the question. As we understand, human intelligence is added with the emotions and spiritual feelings and feel of existence. So all these three or more features, whether they are part of mathematics. If they are part of mathematics, definitely we should understand that the inference, whatever we are calling today, is part of our mental game also. The inference is not simple mental game. It is beyond that. Therefore, the Indian philosophers always considered reasoning or inference as part of the cognitive process. There are many levels, but at least we should understand that this is part of cognitive processes. So I feel, I cognite, I understand, and I know. These are not just simple words. These are our Dharma. So it is Atma Dharma. I don't translate Atma as soul. So it is something which exists, which I consider is most important, and that is me. So if I don't exist, so what all this is for? Therefore, the whole cognitive experiences where the Pramanas play very important role. For example, Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is perception. Perception, we are all perceiving. So you perceive me, I perceive you, you hear me, I listen to you. So while doing so, we have developed certain cognitive pictures in our mind. We develop certain cognitive structures in our mind. They become part of my mind, sanskara. And sanskara they are not isolated piece of information. So they are not just discrete dots. They are not discrete dots. They are not discrete numbers. They are well connected. They are associated. The sanskaras which are developed in our minds, they are well associated. This association makes the whole world. And this association comes from the world, and this association makes the world. The whole world is one here. So then the sanskaras and together perception and our experiences are drawn from not only through the one source. There are multiple sources. The one source is perception, but there are multiple sources. Those multiple sources are not disconnected. They are not discrete. For example, when I perceive something, I am drawing something from my sanskara. I am also drawing something from my inferences. So inference is happening simultaneously. So my perception is not pure perception. It is a jnana coming from the various sources. And for example, even our Indian philosophers thought that the Parvato, standard examples, Parvato Vanhiman Dhumat, Parvata. The tree outside is a living being. So, whether this is a perception? Tree is perceived. The object tree is perceived. But the living being is not a perception. Living being is, is coming from the other sources. Either I am drawing the idea from my knowledge, my source of science, somebody has told me, or I draw idea from inference, my reasoning. So this is like, this has experience, this responses. When I do something, the response is coming, therefore this is living being, it generates, grows. And so there are so many, facts that I collect and then I get it, and then this kind of reasoning is not a mathematics. And you can see the tree part is perception and the living being part is reasoning. It's coming from different sources. This is one cognition. Each cognitive state of mind, each cognitive event in mind is created through the various sources. So you cannot separate them. My point is, we cannot separate perception, reasoning, and then word. No, everything is together. The human cognition is a composite cognition. It's an organic cognition. It is organic. So, though they are coming from various sources, though they are stemmed from the various causes, but it is an organic. It is a composite system. It is an organic system. Therefore, we cannot separate them. Now, coming to some aspects of Pramana. Therefore, Pramana, though they are various sources, we call Pramanas are three. One is the perception, the experiences, like through Indriyas, through direct perceptions, direct sources, through Indriyas, eye contact, the hearing aids, taste. So, when directly something is cognized, that is called perception. The other two sources are indirect. Thus, on the sky, this location, IIT Delhi is adjacent to the airport. So, whenever I hear some sound outside the hall, just my mind says that flight is going. The flight is not seen, but flight is going. That sound, gives me an idea that flight is moving here. The moment of flight is unseen. So these are indirect experiences, right? There are certain things which are beyond our indriyas. Though flight I can see. This is currently I am unable to look at it, but I infer. But there are certain things which are never seen, but they are inferred. Right? Some objects could be seen, but they are inferred. But some object cannot be seen and never seen, but they are inferred. There are certain things which are never part of inference, neither part of inference nor part of perception, but they are really told to us and they exist. Because for the time being you believe that the worlds create the world. The words create the world. And the words create the world beyond the world. So you may not be able to perceive, you may not be able to infer, but still you may reach that through words. Therefore, these are the sources that we understand for Indian classical philosophical systems where the ideas are drawn. Currently what I am focusing on is the inference. As I told you, it is a cognition. And it has got, it is beyond syllogism. So, it is today, as part of our logic understanding of logic is part of mathematics. It ensures you what is logic? Logic is the study of the process of inference, which study the rules of inference. That means the conclusions are valid. It studies the validity, it ensures the validity. Validity doesn't mean that it carries the truth. Validity means that it carries the coherence among the statements, right? It follows, that's it. and the truth is preserved. That's it. Guarantee is given, truth is preserved. That means if the premises are true and the conclusion is true. That's it. It guarantees. That means it's a very formal. But human intelligence, whether just now Jyotirayite has said, he has made a statement, humans are very irrational and also, of course they are wrong. They may be wrong, they may be irrational, but they are living. I cannot say that human beings are irrational, therefore they are not living. Machines are rational, therefore they are dead. And human beings are irrational, therefore they are living. This is the definition. What can I do? So, being rational has nothing to do with living. So, because we are organic, we are living. Nature is nature. We are part of nature. And machines are created by humans. They are created on the basis of the forms. And forms have nothing to do with the reality. And forms are the forms. Therefore, today we are living in the conditioned way that our inference, our reasoning has been confined to the forms and the formal structures. Therefore, the current large language models are the extensions of this basic understanding of the logic. Though I also understand that neural networks have created a lot of associations between the so-called facts, whether they are facts or they are just statements. Again, language has a big role to play here. The symbols play very important role here. The symbols that are created in the machines, data that is given to the machine, are networked, are associated with the big network, so that machine is using the networks and relations in an unknown way, and it draws a lot of conclusions. But what is that human being and what is that Pramana Parampara understands? As far as we understand Pramanas, it is as part of inference, reasoning as part of Pramana. Pramana is the knowledge, the true understanding. It is not limited to the domain specific word. It is beyond that. Therefore, it is, in one sense, it is prana shakti of the entire cognitive process. Kimartham, even it is thought in our Shastras, Tarkaha, Yadyapi Tarka Apratishtanat. Tarka has no base because it starts with the other sources. Anumana. Anumana means, very interesting, this is etymology of Anumana, Anusritya Manam. Right? It is mana, it is pramana only on the basis of something. Base should be strong. And the second part is, it is Tarkaha Apratisthana. It can be, taken to any direction. So there is no specific direction. But it has a power, it's a strength. Tarkaha pramanam anugrahakaha. Other pramanas are guided by Tarka. This is also stated. Even to interpret my own experiences, even to interpret all the words, I use Tarka. Tarka guides in the sense that it ensures that my interpretation is not wrong, and it ensures the uncontradicted way of understanding. It removes the contradiction, that's it. Though my own perception, my understanding, my word or something else will guide me in proper way to reach the reality or truth, the Tarka helps me to remove the confusion. Tarka helps me to remove the contradiction. When contradiction comes in picture, suddenly machine will stop, the mind will stop. Therefore, Tarka will remove all confusions and contradictions. This is where we use Tarka as a weapon. So, without Tarka, without logic, without inference, our Pramana Shastra will not move. With this, I close my remarks here, initial remarks. So I only ended saying that there is a formal logic, there is a distinction between formal logic, understanding of formal logic, and Nyaya view of Anumana, or Indian philosophical view of Anumana. With these, just one example I give you, there is no meaning for A and B. Even in the intelligent machines, I am doubtful whether any meaning for that. One basic, some difference which I understood, when all A or B, A implies B means all A or B, right? It means if A, then B. If A, then B. It means that either not B or B. Either not A or B. This is the meaning. Either not A or B. Therefore, there may be one world where not B, not A. Therefore, this is true. There is nothing in the world, therefore everything is true. There is nothing in the world, therefore everything is true. Right? This is possible. Even vacuum world can make the whole all statements true, because either no A or B. No A is true, therefore everything is true. Therefore, Anumana is not like that. Anumana starts with a meaning. It's with a reality, with an understanding. Therefore, with these initial remarks, I close my remarks. Then we can discuss. We can come with some questions and thank you.
My question is, can we translate Tarka Shastra as a logic?
No.
Then what it is?
It is Tarka Shastra. The point I am making is, logic cannot be translated into in my Shastra. Right? Logic I don't translate. When I don't translate logic, why you want me to translate Tarka? I define it. See, logic is defined, right? Logic is defined. We have very clear, precise definition for logic. I have very clear, precise definition for Tarka. Because by definition we go. Right? Tarka is defined and logic is also defined. I understand. The primitive statements will help me to understand Tarka.
Would logic be Anvikshiki?
No, Anvikshiki is too big.
Too big. It's very large.
Because it is Sankhya, Yoga and Laukayika. That means Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Sankhya, Yoga and Charvaka together are defined as Anvikshiki.
Anvikshiki is Vidya. That means it's a holistic understanding of different angles of looking at the world, right? Therefore, as you opened the question here, we in our Indian recent philosophies, when people classify Indian philosophies, the old classical classification of philosophy is very interesting. This is Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki and Trayi Varta Dandaniti is the way to understand the Indian Vidyas, Bharatiya Vidyas. But today we classify them as orthodox and non-orthodox, something like that. Orthodox and non-orthodox. Who are the orthodox? All are these orthodoxes. That means they are very much irrational, they don't have any rationality, they don't have yukti, and they don't have, therefore only science, the Western temperament, scientific temperament is not preserved here. These kinds of notions are created among the public, right? Therefore, we should really introduce Anvikshiki. Because if you enumerate the Indian classical philosophies, most of them come under the category of very rational. They are very rational. And they are Haitukas. I classify them.
Probably humans being irrational is a statement because we don't know what is rationality. Our limited understanding of being rational leads to that saying that humans are irrational.
And as you pointed out, the proper understanding of Anvikshiki leads us to understand the Indian rationalism. And we call it as Haituka and Haitukas. Haitukas and Agamikas. Most of them are Haitukas. If you call them, because they are basically, they stand on Hetu Vidya. And some are on pure Hetu Vidya, some are go with the Agama and Shastra, and then Hetu also. Therefore, I told you, Tarkaha, Pramananam Anugrahakaha. All Pramanas are blessed by Tarka. They are under the blessings of Tarka. So, see, that is the power of Tarka. Yeah, somebody.
Namaste, sir. I am Nakul Sharma. I am doing my PhD in law from National University, Delhi. So, sir, there's a famous Western jurist who says that life of law has not been logic but experience. But I would like to know your views. For example, in Tarka Shastra or Nyaya Shastra, I think both logic and experience have been included, as Acharya Annam Bhatt says in Tarka Sangraha, which Mati has two vidha, and then. So I want to know your views. Is it a correct estimate? Both experience and logic have been included in the Indian epistemology.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, you are right. We want to take them together. Not exclusion. Only Tarka and only Anubhav Pramana, they are not considered as in-depth. Though experience matters, but Tarka, without Tarka, I cannot conclude the truth of the experiences also. So therefore, Tarka plays very important role in the Shastra. And even in the Lokanubhava, Tarka plays very important role.
Yeah, so the point that you raised, that logic and experience are not divorced, and then the artificial intelligence, the large language models, which is an extension of that process. So I think this follows from the idea of Greco-Roman tradition, where logic is only limited to syllogism, which B.K. Matilals also points out that how Indian logic and epistemology are composite. And then if we look at the nature of science and technology that developed in the West compared to how it was in India, and the famous Needham question, why India missed the industrial revolution. So I think if we try to stitch all these things together, from the logic to the nature of science and what was the philosophy of West compared to our Darshan Shastra, then the nature of science, and by that extension the nature of technology, and then the large language models that we are talking about. If we do not divorce this logic and epistemology, if we do not divorce it, then I think the total paradigm of our scientific endeavor, scientific technology will change, and also not only scientific technology, also our systems, our political systems, how we are framing it together, how we are looking at different institution structures, their functionings. Those things also might change, because then we are operating from a completely new cultural paradigm. So is this a valid proposition, or it is or I am going into too much of daydreaming kind of thing?
Yes, I think my remarks are very clear. As you pointed out, Needham's question, whether it is a weakness, Needham's question, why India or the Southeast Asian countries, these Asian countries could not develop the modern science and technologies. These questions, they do not, basically when I read that article and people responded to it, it shows that sometimes it's a weakness. No. We should understand that it is our strength. For example, some mighty person, some may not be able to do very subtle things. Yes, we understand. But without that, we cannot do big things also. Therefore, this sort of power, we should understand that this is the power. Holistic understanding and holistic approach is a power. It is not a weakness. Therefore, today's fragmented approach of the science and technology and philosophy and spirituality is really a weakness, because it leads us to a fragmented strengths, fragmented results, which create a lot of contradictions in life. We need to avoid the contradictions, because less contradiction or contradiction less life is the real power. Therefore, we should concentrate on the life, the contradiction less life. Then contradiction less life is possible only on the basis of the holistic results, not the fragmented results. Therefore, fragmented science and technological approaches are to be avoided. Therefore, we need to at the end, we need to correct the approach towards the understanding of the logic, inference, and then other sources. Right.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful comments. One thing that really strikes me is the thing you said in the end, which is that inference is not just formal, pure logic, because inference has connection to meaning. Ultimately, it's grounded in meaning. So now if we look at the artificial intelligence systems, they are basically computing machines, and they follow formal rules of logic and so on. There is no intrinsic meaning embedded into the system apart from the structures that are imposed on them for training and so on. So in that sense, they are not grounded in meaning, therefore they are not a valid source of knowledge epistemologically. So this, however, the world is trending in a direction where everybody is thinking it's valid source of knowledge. So it creates a rift in our understanding, and it will develop several issues, ethical issues. So my question to you is about ethics, and any thoughts you'd like to share on how we communicate this message to the world. I mean, of course, every chatbot says this can make mistakes, check your answers, but everybody, the general public, is not so thoughtful. They just take the output as truth. So what can we do as IKS researchers to communicate this to the public and address some of the ethical issues like upfront? That's my question.
Yeah, it's a great challenge in front of us, but only the solution is with the spiritual path. The point I'm making is, we are lending our most of our abilities, right? If I can't see the status or something, some instrument which I use for perceiving something which is not beyond my natural perception, those instruments are just extension for or support for my aid for my eyes, right? Aid for natural abilities. The natural, if the instruments are aids or tools destroy the natural abilities, then I should avoid them. The vehicle is my extension of my leg, right? All the vehicles are extension of my leg. If my natural leg is under threat, then I should really avoid. कार अवॉइड करिए, आप वॉक करिए, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, क्योंकि इसको जब तक इसको यूज करना बंद कर देंगे, दिस बिकम्स ए प्रॉब्लम. Therefore, today even our mental abilities are these are extensions. I understand that machines are extensions of my human abilities. Definitely they are to be used, because if I want to compute, if I want to really use the entire information available on the earth and get to know which is unknown to me, to create something new, innovation, then definitely I should use that intelligence. I cannot avoid that. If I avoid that, I will be unable to see something which is very important to solve my problem. Definitely I should use it. But I cannot, when it destroys my own ability of understanding, I should really avoid it. There is a very thin line. There is a very thin line. So today, for each and every smaller things, I'm just using my mobile. Even I cannot remember my own number. Right? मेरा आपका नंबर बताइए, wait a minute, I just use my mobile, right? And ठीक है, आज मतलब आपका वाइफ का नंबर पता है क्या? डाउटफुल है. So my father, he was in BSNL, used to remember entire towns, all numbers, right? Because in those days, analog these connections, they used to, he told me once, they used to have numbers of each person and they used to connect them with analog buttons, right? Digital, now today digital world. The digital world has destroyed the human memories. Our abilities, our own natural abilities have gone down. They are unused and they become cancerous. I mean, unused abilities, they become cancers. The cancerous things are very dangerous. So our own our own things, I mean our own abilities, when they are not used, they become cancerous and they are harmful to us. So keep these analogies and now extend the human, how a human being responds. For example, in our Paresham, it's very simple rule, right? In ethics, very simple rule. All our Shastras will say, don't do unto others which goes beyond, which goes against you. So, Atmanah pratikulani paresham na samacharet. तो इसका टेस्टिंग पॉइंट है ये. मुझे यदि ठीक नहीं है तो दूसरों को नहीं करना है. ये सिंपल टेस्टिंग पॉइंट है. क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है इसको ज़्यादा सोचिए मत. आपको इसके लिए ज़्यादा धर्मशास्त्र पढ़ने का जरूरत नहीं है. मुझे किसी से दुख होता है तो उनको दूसरों को भी नहीं करना है. ये सिंपल है. क्यों? अगेन नेक्स्ट लेवल. क्यों नहीं करना है? देन द क्वेश्चन इज बोथ ऑफ अस आर लिविंग बींग्स. नो व्हाई? बोथ ऑफ आर लिविंग. सो व्हाट? ये दो बॉल टकराते हैं या उसको इंजरी होता है बॉल और बैट के बीच में, क्या प्रॉब्लम होता है? बॉल से बैट टूटता है, बैट से बॉल टूटता है, तो क्या प्रॉब्लम होता है? तो होता नहीं है. सिंपल लॉजिक. लिविंग बीइंग ये भी दो सिस्टम है तो इसमें कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. अगेन वी कंसिडर दैट मेरा एग्जिस्टेंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है मेरे लिए. माई एग्जिस्टेंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. And without any problem, I should exist forever, and I should be happy. If these feelings are there with me, and similar feelings are the rest, and both are governed by the same principles, and in both of us, same spirit exists. Whether you agree in the form of God or in the form of Brahman, whatever. You consider Brahman is the same or the Paramatma is the same. In both sense, this spiritual understanding helps me to understand that it is not just beyond, it is not just two particles, and they are living beings. So understanding living beings in spirituality helps me to what to do and what not to do. These are not just ethical questions. These are beyond ethical questions. Now coming to the questions, whether machine will be able to do this. In certain level, even human beings are not able to do that. Today war is going on. Everybody is ego, right? This ego is playing role. Then machine ego will start playing role. So mechanical ego, because this is all mechanical. The today's human wars are governed by the egos. These are all mechanical egos, ahankara. So ahankara plays very important role, and even machine ahankara will start playing role. Then what would happen without compassion, touch of the spirituality, touch of the feeling? and all will go. No karuna, no daya, no place for any bhakti, any samarpana. So all these are human feelings. The human feelings die and machines will conquer, and the machines will decide what to do and what not to do, and humans follow them. So we need to somewhere understand the human beings are creating their it's not leader, actually their destruction. We are creating our own destructions. So I always compare one analogy, give analogy. Our AI machines are very powerful, like Brahma Rakshasas. They are very powerful. So Brahma Rakshasas are very important because we used to use Brahma Rakshasas. Brahma Rakshasas play very big, if you want to bring big Parvata, give orders, Brahma Rakshasa will bring. But if you are not doing any tapasya, then it will eat you. So tapasya is very important. Therefore, we should do tapas. Human beings should do tapas, understand ourselves, understand ourselves, and we should understand our own power, and we should use them as our slaves. Therefore, that is possible. Otherwise, we will be in big trouble. The coming to inference and then today's topic. After all, understanding of these Shastras with Vedantic thought, what I got to know is, don't clean up the tools, clean up yourself. We are trying to clean the tools. We are trying to, even logic is the cleaning up the rules and tightening the rules and regulations. Therefore, your machines will draw the right conclusions. Because right conclusions are drawn on the basis of right rules. Right? You create perfect rules, therefore perfect conclusions are drawn. This is what we understand. But don't focus on the tools, focus on yourself. Even the tools are wrong, even the tools are inadequate, you will be perfect. You will reach your goal. So clean your vessel. I mean, Antahkarana Shuddhi is very important to draw the valid conclusions. Therefore, in our understanding, even it is said, I don't know, my colleagues may accept, may admit or not admit, I would say, Brahmadapi yathartha jnana utpadyate. Right? Even if your premises are not true, your conclusions will become true. Right? Your conclusions will become true. This Prama is possible. Knowledge is possible. True conclusion is possible, even though you started with the wrong premises. But this is possible only with the holistic understanding and experiences and the cleaning of the Antahkarana. Therefore, all our ancient Shastras, focused on, they try to tell us that clean up the vessel, not the milk. Thank you very much.